Thank you very much, Issei. Monday Issei. It's great to have you here. Okay, so I do not have intent wasting our time. I would, want us to start like as early as we can, almost like immediately. So as you guys are typing, I would always also like to know where you're probably like joining from. If you're joining from Nigeria, if you're joining from the UK or any other, maybe any other part of the world you might be joining from. Monday's joining from Nigeria. Oh, awesome. It's great to have you here. Chidoze is from the UK here, Lagos, Nigeria, UK. Yeah, because I know it's definitely will be a mix of, Nigeria and UK. It's really, really great to have you here. And oh, Scotland, Ikorodu, Nigeria. Apparently, I'm from Ikorodu, so it's great to see you, Aliu. Yeah, so it's great to have you here. It's really a pleasure having you guys here, and more of a pleasure having to, share my own personal experience on, getting endorsed on a global talent visa. I'll just, I'll be starting in just like 1 or 2 minutes, just, trying to get myself familiarized with my audience here. And yeah, we'll be getting started. Amazingly, we had over 500 registrations. So that's like a huge one. And 500 registrations is not like it's not a small one. So I can see everyone really wants to join the Jackma wave, right? For those in Nigeria, Nigeria is not smiling enough. For those in the UK, COS or yeah is crazy, and it's part of the things I'll be sharing in my own personal journey, as to the journey around sponsorship and me jumping why I decided to jump on the global talent visa. So it's promising to be an amazing experience, and I tell you one thing: by the end of the session, you would actually be leaving with more than enough information, So yeah, so I think it's a good time to get started. So if you really want me to get started, I'd like to see thumbs up. Yeah, so we don't have to wait for the remaining persons who have signed up to join us here. Oh, Port Harcourt, yeah. So do we get started, everyone? Abiodun says yes. So I should start. Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. And I love the ginger in the house. Yeah. So yeah, global talent visa, and that is basically why we're here. So the agenda for today is simple, right? We're going to be having an introduction. I'll be sharing my personal story. Then we'll be having like an overview of the global talent visa, the application process, how you should build, a strong case, the post-application journey. Should we have the time? Because to be honest, 1 hour is not enough to cover this entire thing, but I will do my best, to be able to do the most I can. Then we'll be able to have, life after approval, then Q&A, and next steps. One thing I would, yeah, I think I should be able to provide a recording. I'm also streaming on Twitter right now. So if you're not able to probably like get a recording from me because life is busy. So if you're not able to get a recording from me, then you can probably like rewatch on Twitter. My handle remains Mr. Yemi. I think most of us joined maybe getting to connect via Twitter. So yeah, I wouldn't want to take too much of our time, and I'll just go straight into it. So first, I'd like to let us know I am not an immigration consultant, right? So everything I'm saying on this call, right, is not like the final say. Global Talent Visa and as well Technician that does the endorsements, they oftentimes change their own, requirements and the like. So whatever I say is not cast in stone, but basically just to guide you, right? So I felt it is very important that I state that, upfront. So I hope we can see my slides, though. I hope you can see my slides. I just want to be sure everyone can see my slide. Awesome, you can see my slide. So that makes absolute sense. You can see my slide, so that's awesome. I might not be able to share the slide, right? But and that's more reason I would really want us to pay attention. You have access to the videos, but definitely not the slide. There's a lot of reasons for that, but I'll be happy to to share the video. So a quick one about me. Yeah, my name is Yomi, right? And I'm a software engineer by profession. I have almost a decade experience, and Yeah, I've been, a technical leader also for quite a while. I help people around, transitioning into tech, talking about tech related stuff, and a whole lot more. So, the tech ecosystem is basically my base, right? And I've been sharing the journey of tech for, more than, or well, yeah, over a decade. And one of the reasons I had to, jump on the global talent itself is on this next slide. First, I'd like to let you know that myself that I'm talking here, I've actually had to apply to for the Global Talent Visa 3 times, and I didn't get it onto the third time. Second fun fact itself is the fact that I got this endorsement within 3 days as well, and I applied just at a moment when I was just about losing my last job because I was sponsored by my previous employer, thanks to them, being able to sponsor me for, the duration I was sponsored for. But it got to a point where they needed to, experience, or they were going through some redundancy process, and I had to be let go. So I had no option but to, jump on the global talent visa again, which was the third time. And thanks to my wife, she was very, very, helpful in this process, and also a couple of other persons because it took a community to actually get my evidences well structured and every other thing well done, right? And I think it's one of those things that people are missing. And it's one of the reasons I felt it is important. I felt compelled to as well share my personal experience and see how it would be able to help individuals for the global talent visa. So I'll just get started. It's not really about myself here, but about every single person. But before I continue, I just want to try something here and see if there's a way for me to, because I can't see my screen right here. So I want to see if there's a way. Um, okay, I think I'm trying to pin my screen here so I don't have to keep going to the side. Just a few seconds. Just I can see a baller on my screen, but the baller is not my presentation. So trying to see how I can probably like fix it again. But if it's not working, I'll probably just keep looking to the side anyway. I'm also working at the moment on a comprehensive video guide, right? Definitely will be paywalled. And I'm happy to probably like, offer early bird discounts to anyone that wants to jump on it. It's going to be like as detailed as possible. It's not something that you would consume in an hour anyway, but this session is just meant to just, quickly help us. So first overview, what is GTV? Now, the Global Talent Visa is basically a UK type of visa that allows talented individuals live and work in the UK for up to 5 years. Now, mind you, I got a 3 year route. So that means I don't have to wait for 5 years before I probably like switch to my to get my ILR and as well citizenship. I've already spent a couple of years, so I'm closer to ILR than earlier. So with my previous employer and the sponsorship, I would have probably like have to wait for 5 years. So with the global talent visa, obviously you can live and work in the UK for up to you can live and work in the UK for up to 5 years. Then afterwards, you get your sponsorship. I'm sorry, your ILR and as well probably citizenship. So it's majorly for exceptional people in these three major spaces. First, in the academia. Second, arts and culture, and as well for those in digital technology. I am in the digital technology sector as a software engineer, so I was able to leverage it. I'll be dropping my handle in the chat for those who are asking, but I will attend to more questions, after all of this, so I don't get, here and there. So that is basically the GTV. So I hope a number of us, for those that don't know what this is, it should be able to help you understand what this visa route itself really entails. Now, this global talent visa does not require you getting a job offer. You don't need a job offer. You don't need sponsorship from any employer. You don't need any minimum salary requirements, and you don't need certain academic qualification, right? It's basically um, it's basically a kind of visa that just gives you like that limitless restriction. You have no restriction, basically. Let me put it that way. The only restriction would be around the fact that you cannot access public fund, and also you cannot be in sports. Just those two things. But Well, imagine you being in the UK and you're not having to, you're not limited to 20 hours of after, work hours time to do any extra work. You can run your business, you can do, you're basically free to do anything you want to do, right? No employer restriction or any other thing as such. And there's also no salary requirements and all of those things. So it really helps you a lot. And I'm starting from this, especially for those who are new to understanding what the Global Talent Visa is. And also, another reason I am very passionate about doing this is because I've seen a number of persons mention the fact that they find it difficult understanding how the requirements of the technician documents, or probably like the guideline around the GTV, it's all confusing. I have been there, right? When I started this entire process, the first time and the second time I applied and I couldn't get it, was basically because I really didn't understand to details what these guys want, right? And me being able to properly assimilate, look at people who have done it, and then being able to help and a number of things. It really was able to help me get a perspective. And I think with the fact that I've done this like 3 times, it has given me, that it has put me in that best position to know what should be done and what should not be done. So, for us that are in the digital technology now, if you just before I go into digital technology, a few other persons that can, apply based on the previous stuff I talked about. If you are probably like in the academia, obviously you can apply for Global Talent Visa. There's a route for that. If you're probably like in art and culture, for example, if you are a fashion designer, if you act or you sing professionally now. If you're a filmmaker, yes, you can do this. But I will be talking specifically today more around the digital technology. I'm hoping to host a session soon around art and culture, and as well, other routes. I'm currently helping a friend who is a filmmaker, by the way, around gathering his documents and the likes. So, but I believe you being able to stay to the end will be able to guide you to know what needs to be done and what not to be done. So, for those of us in the digital technology sector, now, if you're probably in the technology sector, I would like to see a raise of hand. I'd like to know if you are probably like a software engineer, product manager, no, I'm sorry, not raise of hand as to you, like, okay, well, I can see the raise of hand. So I think that's up. I was actually hoping in the chat. Well, I'm actually not calling you to speak. So that's why. So you can bring down the hands. Yeah, but you can raise it in the chat. So yeah, so awesome. I can see there's a number of tech persons here. Data governance manager, awesome. So these are the categories of people I'm going to be speaking more to specifically today. But if you're not in this space, right, I'm just, still hold on, pay attention to the end. I'll still be hosting sessions around this. And I'm hoping that one of these days I'll be able to bring to this call people who have also had to get the Global Talent Visa in these other routes, and they'll be able to speak and provide more information on how this works. So let's go to those of us in tech, right? Awesome. So Tech Nation is basically the endorsement body for the Global Talent Visa, especially for those of us in digital technology. And for you to apply for GTV, right, especially as a digital technology person, you must get Tech Nation's endorsement. It is important. You cannot apply except you already have won an award that is international, like a Nobel award or any other, recognized award. But that aside, you need an endorsement, and that's basically the endorsement I was able to get through Technician. So, what does who are those basically that this Technician endorsement is designed for? Tech professionals, that's developers, engineers, technical architects, product managers, and the likes. We have professionals like technical product managers, data scientists. Like I saw someone who is a digital, a data governance person. Then business professionals in digital technology. I think it is important that I emphasize that digital technology is a priority. So if your product or the company you're working with, even if you're a software engineer, and the stuff that you're going to be presenting are not centered around digital technology, then it might be best not to apply. Digital marketing and sales guys too can apply, right? But it has to be that you're working within the digital technology sector. That is the number one thing that you guys need to know. You have to be working in the digital technology sector. Because if you're not, if you're probably like working in consulting like PwC or any of the big fours, or you're just probably like working with any random company, right? It's you, the chance of you being able to get this visa is more like not possible. More like not possible. I don't want to zero you, but it is important that you're in the digital technology sector, right? So that is the first important thing that I need to note. Now let's move on. Now, what are the types of endorsements, right? Um, if you're working alone and organizing training and certification, unfortunately, that won't work. You might probably have to set up like a digital technology company officially, right? And I'll be talking about most of these things over time. Now, there are two endorsement types, right? First, we have the exceptional talent, right? And we have exceptional promise. I got the exceptional talent, right? And it's basically because now exceptional talents are more of people who have over 5 years of experience in the digital technology sector, right? And we have exceptional promise. Exceptional promise route is given to people who have 5 years or less experience in digital technology sector. So they basically categorize this in these two ways so as to be able to, number one, for exceptional talent, they see you as someone who is an established professional and you already have proven track record, right? And then if you are in the exceptional promise route, that means you're an emerging leader. That means you're showing promise of being a potential significant of potential significant impact in the UK. So that is that's basically like the two categories that you need to understand. So if you have more than 5 years, you most likely be going for the talent route, and if you have less than 5 years, you most likely will be going for the promise route. Another thing itself is for those who are on the talent route, they most like they would basically if you are if you're endorsed for talent, you would basically just a few seconds, please. I need to ensure that nobody is able to speak through the session. Um, so you cannot unmute yourself, unfortunately. You cannot start video. And yeah, you can chat. So I'll be addressing most of these questions in the chat very shortly. So if you're probably given an exceptional talent endorsement, you definitely will be having a 3 years visa. So after 3 years, you can switch to you can get your ILR, and from there you get your citizenship. But if you're given the promise route, then 5 years, then you get ILR and as well citizenship. So I'll be moving on to the next, which is the application process. But before I continue, I hope I am communicating. I hope I'm providing clarity, because that's why this call is here. You can drop a message in the chat if if I'm clear. I'm trying to use as simple words as possible. So I hope I'm really clear. Oh, awesome. Thank you very much for that feedback. So now we'll be proceeding to the application process, right? And I hope I'm not rushing too much. I'm trying to cover a lot within 1 hour. One of the things I'm looking to do is probably like have like a well-detailed workshop around this. Again, that might be a paid workshop, however, because we'll be doing a lot of practical review and all of those things. Or probably like if you are looking to maybe like just book a one-on-one session with me, we can just have that outside of this call. But that is by the way. Now, we have two main stages in the application process, right? We have stage one, which is basically you getting your endorsements. And the stage two is after you've now gotten your endorsements, you can now go and apply for your visa. That's basically it, right? Again, I can see some questions in the chat and I will address all of this very shortly. Now, as I said, stage one itself is you getting an endorsement from Technician, and then the second stage itself is you getting to apply for your visa with the Home Office. Now, stage one is the most crucial of these processes. You cannot even say you want to consider a stage two unless you've gotten stage one. That's it, right? And one thing that you need to pay attention on in this stage one is first, your achievements and impact are very important. So for those of us that probably are feeling like we're not qualified for this yet, maybe you've gone through the requirements and you're probably like looking to apply in the next 1 or 2 years. And I think it's one of those things. I'm starting to share my story now. It's one of those things that helped me. When I tried the first time and the second time, I was that kind of person that I wouldn't put myself out on the social media for anything. I still don't enjoy social media. in terms of having my face out there. I'm just getting to have my face out there. It's something I don't particularly enjoy. But when I saw that one of the requirements of technician itself is they want to see what you've done. So I started documenting every of my, my experiences. I've been a mentor on different platforms. I've been, active in communities, and I've been doing a lot of things. But I didn't used to document these things. So I decided that, you know what, for the next 1 year, I wasn't even having planned to, get into GTV yet. I was just like, you know what, let me just document stuff. So I started documenting a lot of my engagements. Whenever I'm invited to speak at any place, I get pictures, I record. I'm naturally not that kind of person. Then I started trying to learn to push this on social media, right? My social media is still sort of boring to date, but at least I was documenting, which was the first thing. Every single thing that could be an achievement, or an impact that you're making in your current workplace, you need to document these things, right? Second itself is they need to see that you have technical expertise or you have business skills. So it's either you are strong on the technical side or you're on the business side. So that, I think, answers the question again for the person I was asking around sales, right? If you're a salesperson within a digital led, a product led company, a digital technology company, then you can apply as long as you're able to evidence this. And then the third thing that they are looking for in you as a person is that you have the potential to contribute to the UK tech sector. Let's be honest, the UK needs talent, right? They wouldn't bring you here, or they wouldn't give you this visa if they don't see you as someone that will add to their economy. So when you're gathering your evidences and you're working on, getting endorsed and all of those things, you need to ensure that you are marketing yourself. You're a brand in this case, and you need to ensure that you are packaging yourself, sell your market, sell your market heavily. Like our typical Igbo brothers, they know how to sell their markets, right? So it is important that you sell your market, blow your horn. If you don't blow it, nobody will blow it for you. That is the truth, right? So you need to be heavy on your achievements. You need to show that, yes, you have technical expertise or business skills. And finally, you have to show that you have the potential to contribute heavily to the UK tech sector. I will tell you a few things I did. I'm not recommending that those are the exact things you must do, but I'm just going to be telling you a few things I did. So stage one itself, let's go into stage one. First, you have to be, for you to have a successful application, which basically distinguished my third application from my first two, is that you must have a clear evidence of your achievements and impact. Clear evidence. So a few mistakes I made the first time was I was just putting links to what I had done. Then I was just talking in summary. I just felt they wanted to know that I've done this, and that's it. And just the same way some of us we do in maybe like when we are working on our CVs, I advise people on CVs and all of those things a lot. We most of the time we don't talk about our achievements. We just talk about what the job is about, right? What they want to see is not that, oh, this is what you have been working on, but they want to see what you have done, like what you have added as an achievement for, or something that is impactful on that business in itself, right? So they need a clear evidence of your achievement and your impact. If you feel you're not adding impact, or you're not probably like achieving anything for the organization you're working on, then why are you applying? Right. So you need to put in clear evidence. And by clear evidence, I mean, okay, I think I would talk about this, but your evidence must actually, if you're providing evidence on, oh, I did XYZ, your evidence also must talk about how you did XYZ. So, for example, if you helped the company raise $1 million, right, where does it show that you helped the company raise $1 million? I will talk about much more of this very shortly. Then, second, you need strong recommendation letters. One of the things I think I did in my first application was I had a friend of mine who is the CTO on one of my products, right? I had him write a recommendation letter for me. However, in the content of the application, right, one of the things that the way it was presented, it was as though like, oh, this is my friend, so please recommend him. I'm sorry, or please approve him, or or endorse him. And that was one of the errors I made. I looked at it, I didn't see much of I would say I was much younger anyway. Or so it is important that this person is strong. And by strong, and that will be answering Juju's question here. Yeah, it can be issued by maybe like a CISO, a CTO, a CIO, yes, a C-level member of your organization, someone leading in your organization in the C-suite, that will help you a lot. Or someone who is advanced in their career. You understand? A few of my recommendations where one of them was someone who has had, I think, over 20 years or even almost 30 years experience, and he currently is like the group information officer in one of the leading, investment companies here in the UK. Another person I had also was my previous boss back then in Nigeria when I was working on a payments product, and he has extensive experience, over 26 years experience, and he currently leads a payments solution delivery product delivery in Nigeria, right? And I think the third person was I'm trying to, he's also one of like a CTO in one of the startups in Nigeria, leading startups in Nigeria. So you can see the category of persons I brought in. So it's not just some random persons or some random friends. You understand? You have to ensure that these persons are leading. Third thing itself is your document, your everything you'll be evidencing must be well structured. It was one of the problems I had in my first two applications. It wasn't well structured. Even me myself, I knew. If I were to endorse myself for the first two times, I wouldn't endorse me. That's the truth, based on what I had to put in for this third time. Now, also, you have to tell a compelling narrative about your contribution to the UK. Based on all of your achievements and everything, how does the UK economy benefit from you? Let's be honest. These guys need to see that you're going to be of value to them, right? So it is important that you do this. And these are basically like the major tips that you need. I'll be going into details. We have about 33 more minutes. So yeah, documents. So I don't want you to be scared. A few documents you need itself is first a personal statement. I'll give you the flow of how that is to work. Your resume, up to 3 pages, not more than 3 pages. My resume is just 2 pages, by the way. My personal statement was just about 997 words, basically. I tried to give them 3 words. So that's that bit. Then I had 3 recommendation letters, strong recommendation letter. Unfortunately, I'm not able to help with a template for recommendation letter, but I'll give you a guide that can help you, right? Um, for those that usually book one-on-one sessions with me also, I'm happy to, review your recommendation letter and just, give a proper guide on how that should work. But I'll give you for free on this call, just a basic guide that would help you, honestly. So you need also up to 10 pieces of evidences, supporting evidences. Now, they would tell you probably that evidences are optional, but evidences are mandatory, and I would recommend that you do not give don't give more and don't give less than 10. If you don't have up to 10, it's not bad. They would say that you should probably give 2 in each category, but I would give you the template I followed, template in terms of the format I followed, right? Very shortly. So first, let's talk about your personal statement. This is the guide you should follow, right? And this is the guide I followed. First, a personal intro. Second, and basically this is, you should answer these questions. That's just it, right? Certifications are not considered a strong evidence, unfortunately. So let me talk again about this personal statement. First, you should have a quick intro. We don't need too much story about your background, right? It's good, but don't say too much about your background, right? Answer these other questions. Number one, why do you want to come to the UK? Your first paragraph can be probably like a personal intro. The second paragraph can now be telling why you want to come to the UK, why the UK of all places, right? Then next itself is what's the planned occupation? What do you want to come and do in the UK, right? What job are you planning to do? So one of the things, for example, I switched from a yeah, because you're in the UK already, I was already in the UK. I specified the fact that I've always wanted to come to the UK because I saw an opportunity for personal growth, and there's huge job opportunity and a lot of especially being a startup founder, a lot of investment opportunities are available in the UK. Let them know why you want to go, because even if you're already in the UK, why are you still in the UK, right? So you've always wanted to be in the UK. Why was UK top of your mind? I'll be honest with you. They don't want to hear, they don't want to hear the fact that they don't want to hear the fact that, oh, you're coming to come and school in the UK. So they don't need stories. go straight to the point, achieve what needs to be achieved. You understand? Thank you very much, Said, for that feedback. So continuing, which region or city of the UK are you planning to live in? Right. For example, there are three major cities that you can reference. First, you can say London, for example. Second, you can say Manchester. I said Birmingham because where I live is closer to Birmingham. So those are three top, startup, and give a reason why you're saying this, right? There are a lot of data-backed evidences that you can provide. You understand? They don't need you to tell stories again. You understand? But just mention the region or city and why that city. You understand? So I mentioned the fact that Birmingham is, I think, the second largest. It has the second largest number of startups, and it is a very huge ecosystem for myself to be able to establish my, startup, because I have a startup I'm running. And then the final question that you now need to answer is, how will the UK digital technology sector benefit from your work? Don't forget, I mentioned one thing. You need to ensure that they see a reason why they should give you this visa, and also how they will benefit. Honestly, if they don't benefit, why would they want you here? So it is more about them than you. So they want you to come and add to the economy. When you start making the big money when you're here, they will get their own cut anyway. So it is very important that you tell them why the UK, or how the UK will benefit from you. That's just it. So that's it. So one other thing I put here is the fact that your statement should be relevant and consistent with the rest of your application. They want you to have this personal statement to be the guide for every of the evidences. So everything that you were writing in this personal statement are now those things you'll be providing 10 evidences for. So if you're building a startup, we need the evidence in part of the evidences. If you're currently working with a company, we need the evidences. If you've talked about like one or two or blah, blah, blah company. So there has to be that. It's like you're telling a story. You understand? You can imagine a storybook for a kid, right? And you're telling a story and you're having pictures, and the pictures are not telling that story. So it's not correlating. So they need you to ensure that these two things are correlating. So your statement must, be relevant and consistent with the rest of your application. Are we getting it before I move on to the next? I need to take a little water, right? Thank you very much, John, for your feedback. Good. Bosse is saying, I also have a startup, but it's not registered. Still building a website. Is it a must to register as a company before applying? Well, I would recommend you probably register, right? I would recommend you do. It's not a must, but when it's registered, it gives more credence, right? It gives more credence. So that would help you. So recommendation letters. Now, this is another beautiful thing. Most people get confused with the recommendation letter, and this is the format I followed, right? So for the person that was asking about templates, this is the most template I can give you on this call. And the reason itself is this: Technician does not want you to use templates. That's the truth, right? If you now need a guide, a step-by-step guide, reviewing and the likes, we can have a one-on-one, then we'll be able to rework on your stuff. But I'm giving you like the freest info I think you can get anywhere, right? Almost on this call. Now, first, a brief personal intro of the author. Who is this author? Is he an authority, right? He needs to establish that with the first paragraph. Second paragraph itself is, how does this author, who is already established, how does he know you? They recommend that and I've put that notice here, the person that will be writing the recommendation must be a senior member of the organization, must be experts in the digital technology field. I'm re-emphasizing that. Then finally, they must know your work for at least 12 months. I have had someone come to me and ask if I could provide them recommendation. I said, no, unfortunately. I can give you reference based on what you've done for us as a brand, but I can't give recommendation. Why? Because we've not known ourselves for more than 12 months. I don't know your work. You can use two people from the same organization, yes, but in most cases, I would recommend you have two different people from different organizations. For someone working as a software engineer in the digital agency company, basically building softwares for, you're basically working, that's Joseph, you're basically working for a consultant. They don't accept consultancy companies. So if you're going to be applying, you can probably reference work outside of your consultancy firm, even if you're a freelancer. it won't particularly work. They need to see that you're working in a digital technology space and also for a product-led company. You mentioned, Abib, you mentioned earlier that you must be working for a product company. What if you're working for an enterprise organization like a university in the UK, but in the tech department? Yes, you can, but in situations like this, you have to be more focused on stuff that are more uh, industry focused, industry focused than about that organization, right? You're working within, like a research based environment. That's another way you'll be able to place it, right? But you just have to emphasize more around those things outside than internally. For what if you're in tech? That's John. What if you're in tech but you switched career, for example, a QA engineer to software engineer? I will tell you for a fact, I in my application, I was having PHP developer, software engineer. It was all mixed everywhere. But someone said, have the same title across board. So even if you have switched company in itself, try and ensure that there's consistency in whatever you're putting in as your application. So if you're putting in as a QA engineer in your technician application, make sure it is QA engineer all through. If it's software engineer, make sure it's software engineer all through. I have worked as a software engineer for a bank in Nigeria. With a letter of recommendation from a bank fly? Definitely to fly. I have worked in a bank in Nigeria before. Although I didn't get recommendation from them because there was no need, but I used their I used projects that I worked on within that bank as evidences. So let's go back to this recommendation letter. As I was saying, you need a brief intro of the author. You need the author to talk about how they know you. That's probably like second paragraph and maybe third paragraph. Then they need to mention the achievements that they have known of you in this digital technology field. They do not need to talk about how they know you from your father's and your mother's side. Nope. It must be focused on the digital technology sector and how they've recognized your achievements. Then the author must talk about how he considers you as a talent or promise. They must, right? Because this is helping put in perspective as to the fact that the author knows that you're applying for this and they are recommending you based on this and this and this, right? And also how they now consider you as either a talent or a promise, right? And the final thing itself is they must also talk about how you would be a huge contribution again to the UK digital economy. So it's important that you show this. I think that's basically it, really, about recommendation letter. One thing itself is for those of you that will be having recommendation letter written by yourself, right? And you'll be sharing with whosoever will be signing and the likes. Don't use the same words. Don't use the same structure, right? Have them review and reword them in their own language. Now, one of the things I did was one of my recommendation was more focused on open source, right? My stuff around open source contribution in the digital technology sector and my work, everything that I've done outside of the digital, outside of my workplace. So more like a mentor, but around open source contribution because I'm a software engineer. The second recommendation was more focused on the person was talking about how I am switching from just being a software engineer to being a technical product manager because he is like my mentor and he has seen my work within the fintech space and he has seen my growth within that. You can see those different stories I'm telling. Then the final recommendation actually talked about how I have been working with him on blockchain focused solutions for the past 7 years, and he has seen my work and my trajectory and how I have moved from Nigeria to the UK because the company is here in the UK. So it's based, each person is telling their stories from their perspective, and that is what your recommendation should do. I'll answer a few questions now before I proceed. Now, I once worked as a system administrator in an insurance company. I have a good relationship with the director of finance who has been helping with references. Can I use him in this case? Yes, you can, but you must know your work. That's the thing. So even if it's finance, if he's now talking about, I've worked on an insurance tech product. I almost used someone who actually I built a product for, but I couldn't use him because it was more like a freelance gig. So um, if he's going to be talking about like your work within the fintech or I'm sorry, the insurance space, it must be more like fintech focused. You understand how you probably like have he has seen your growth within the insurance tech space as basically that. But then again, because he's a finance person, that's the second concern. He's not much in the digital technology sector. If it were an insure tech firm, right, it could have been good. But because it's just a base insurance person, I might recommend that you look for another option. Thanks, Yomi. You spoke about the digital route. What about research? I will be coming there very shortly, so I won't read the remaining bit of a question. Can I get a recommendation letter from a CEO in a company that I built a web app for, but the company is in the furniture industry? I wouldn't recommend, honestly. Look for someone stronger in the digital technology sector. I have a distinction in MSc from a UK university. Can this? Nope. I have an MBA. It did not make any difference. The most itself is now. Let me tell you how you can leverage that, and that also will speak on the person on academia. We'll be getting to the optional criteria very shortly. We have less than, so I'll have to rush through a few things now, so I might not be able to answer our questions. For those in the digital tech, in the academic route, the most important is that you leverage on international journals. I wrote, like, I'm currently working on my second paper that I'll be presenting in Portugal next week. And that was on one of those evidences I presented, right? So if you're able to probably like collaborate with a lecturer, a senior lecturer and the likes, and you're able to have a publication on an international journal, that will help you. How long should a recommendation letter be? Max 3 pages. I currently work in charity in the UK, but as a UX designer, can I use this as part of my application? It's not a product-led company, so that's a concern. Paul, can a digital analyst apply? Sure. Let me proceed because there's no time. So let's talk evidences. Mandatory evidence. So basically, you need to send evidences, as I said. Mandatory evidences, your mandatory evidence. Now, this is what I did, which really helped me. Someone mentioned that I should basically use four evidences in my mandatory, then three for the optional criteria. So 3 for any of the optional and another 3 for any other optional. That is 10. My first application, it was 3-3. So basically they rejected my 3 mandatory evidences. I got 1 optional, right? I didn't get the other optional. So one of the things I just had to do was restructure, right? So I had 4 mandatory evidences, right? Then I had 3-3. So at least if maybe 3 of my or 2 of my mandatory did not work, at least 1 will work, right? Then for the optional criteria, I already had 1 before, so I just like made it solid, and then for the other optional, I made it more solid. So what you need to have in your mandatory, you can have a reference letter from an employer. You can have a letter of recommendation or a reference letter. I use letter of recommendation from my previous 2 employers. I had 5 recommendation letters. So I can't use 5 recommendation letters because I can't submit more than 3. So I use 3 strongest ones. Then I use the remaining 2 recommendation letters as individual evidences. And that helped me. Media recognition. If you probably maybe like a newspaper has, picked on your work, they've talked about your achievements in the digital technology sector, that will help you a lot. If you've probably gotten a prestigious award or an accolade or something, you can showcase that. Then also you can show a speaking engagement. Mandatory evidence is mandatory. So the pun is intended anyway. So you need to get that. I hope I'm clear. Before I go to the other ones, I'm just going to answer generically. Hi Yomi, which endorsing body would you recommend for someone like me? You've worked as a telecoms field engineer. You've worked as a business products manager for a fintech startup. Now working with Nokia you can apply for technician, I think, based on what I'm saying here. You're working with Nokia. So, and it's a product-led company. So you can actually apply for technician, really. And if you have more than 5 years experience, you can apply for the talent route. I trust that you should be able to get a 3-year route. I'm a product and digital marketing specialist in fashion design. Do I need to focus in a fashion design company? No. Just focus on product marketing in itself. How about cyber gov intelligence that requires NDAs in Nigeria? How do I navigate stating a project? The truth of the matter is you have to find a way. You'll be revealing a lot of sensitive data. That's the truth, right? Especially if your organization allows you. So because you need permission from them anyway, for some of those very sensitive ones. So yeah, you need to work on that. How about if you got first position in an AI hackathon? Yes, you can leverage on that actually. Mandatory options, is it any of the examples listed? Yes, any of these examples, you can have more, but majorly anything centered around this. When your application is very successful, did you reuse the exact same reference data? Yes, but I made them stronger. I reached out and I asked them to rework on the references and evidences. So I used the same people, but I just made it stronger. That's just it. Okay, so let me proceed. I am seeing that the event is unable to take more than 100%. 100%. I'm sincerely sorry. I'm just realizing this. I should have upgraded my Zoom before now, but I think for subsequent sessions, I would fix this problem. I'm incredibly sorry, please. So let me quickly talk about optional one. Um, optional one is more around like proven track record of innovation, right? So if you probably like have worked on an innovative product, you can probably like show financial records, you can show employment contracts, you can show evidence of the company's innovative services, maybe like a patent, a product roadmap, and the likes. You can also show maybe like technical specifications, anything that basically just shows the fact that, and also reference letter, anything that shows that you actually worked on an innovative product, that would help you a lot. I'll be fast now, if you don't mind me. Optional two itself is talking about recognition outside of work. I use this, right? I use this, and basically it's basically more focused on anything you've done outside of your work. How have you contributed to the digital technology? So maybe like if you've helped in open source projects, if you've been an active part of, a community. I joined STEM UK. If you can join STEM UK, that will help you. I'm on ADP list as a mentor. I contribute to the open source. Now, for some people, they'll be like, Yomi is everywhere. Yes, I had to be everywhere. I needed a global talent visa. It's not easy to get it. So you have to do the work. That's just the truth. Published articles. Yes, I wrote articles. I have articles on Medium, even though they do not accept articles, but I have articles that have had over 26K views or reads. So I have some even on other platforms. I have over 4K views and the like. So I have articles. So if you're not writing yet, please start writing. Um, um, Proof of structured mentorship activities. This is also part of things that you can show. Then optional three. I also used optional three. Optional three itself is focused on technical architecture or commercial, entrepreneurial or commercial contribution. So it's more like showing numbers. How much money have you made for the company, for example? So sales data, financial record. For those of us that are engineers, code commits, right? Reference letter, if you're able to provide reference letter, detailed technical specification and the likes. If you start a blog, right, you can use it, but ensure that you've linked it with Google Analytics so that it's actually tracking visits and all of those things. Then the final optional four, which answers the person earlier who was talking about the academic route. So I also wrote publications, right? Yes, it's true that ADP list is not strong, but again, how do you present it? So one of the things I did was that I've mentored over 1,000 minutes on ADP list. So I mentioned the fact that I've mentored people in over 10 countries perspective, right? I've had 1,000 minutes. I've gotten a certificate for that. And also I actually organized Nigerians in Tech UK, right? Which is a community of tech persons, leading tech persons in the UK. So I did stuff, even though, so if ADP is not supporting, so let me use this word in Yoruba, if this does not work, that will work. But again, which would basically take me to the final thing, how you build a strong case. Now, number one, identify your strong evidences, right? So for someone like me, I've had to host events that has had over 200 and something. No, this is not a 3 months journey. Yeah, it's not a 3 months journey. I prepared for like a year plus. That's the truth. So you need to provide strong evidences, and the evidences has to be visibly seen as strong. You have to use screenshots or pictures. So if you're not recording your achievement already, start recording. You have to show screenshots. They want to see screenshots. They don't. One of the mistakes I made in my first application was I was using links. Unfortunately, links was not it. So I had to I had to provide screenshots of evidences everywhere, you know, emphasize metrics, show like numbers, you understand? So if your company has made, let's say, 1 million USD, you understand? Show it that, yes, this is the proof that the company made 1 million USD. You know, there were places I had to use, again, some quite sensitive data that I had to get permission to use anyway. Then also you have to leverage on strong profiles. Now, I've hosted events where, you know, people that are working with like C-level, C-suits, you know, persons working with maybe like Barclays, Canonical, the company that basically builds or manages Ubuntu software, and a few other leading persons. So I leveraged on their profile a lot. Again, you have to tell your story. You have to sell your market, you know. So that is the very important thing. And I think on this note, I want to say thank you for joining. There's a lot of questions I can say about people using AI and prompt engineering, and then training people to build AI-powered chat model. Oh, awesome. I would love to even work with someone like you, right? You can leverage on this, but are you doing it as a means of mentorship? Then you have to have it structured. It's not just you training on Twitter. No, you have to have this as a structured stuff. Can you use contributions made on LinkedIn article? Unfortunately, I don't think that would help. You have to write your own article. Um, can screenshots from online sessions, are they valid? Yes, but try and leverage on the numbers, right? Leverage on the numbers, the analytics. It will help you. Just asking, someone mentioned that those screenshots are not always verified if you tell your story well. I want to believe what you're saying is that they don't do an extra check if you tell your story well. If that's what you're saying, yes. I told my story very well, right? I tried to reduce the links I was providing, and I got it, right? So you can too. If you build a product that doesn't have a dashboard where you can see metrics, but you have a database to show, yes, you can use your database. Now, if you can get a reference letter from your employer to actually show or indicate these metrics. I got a reference or a recommendation letter from my employer, and it actually showed the number as to how many customers or businesses that we had using our product. So that helped. Can you share your meeting record? Yes, definitely. I would be happy to share, especially because we had over 400 persons who could not join because me, I forgot to extend the limits of this meeting. Evidences shared on LinkedIn. Okay, teachings, I've already answered that. Evidences on LinkedIn acceptable. Yeah, it depends on how you use that. The promise route as a founder, majorly for different projects, have impact. Can you elaborate a little to create a general idea or pathway? I'm not sure I understand this question. So if you can probably raise your hand, I'll be happy to get your question. Currently running a PhD in Nigeria. The PhD now is in research. Can I add this concept note to the application? Yeah, but yeah, you can actually. Honestly, you can. But if you are also able to work on ensuring that your research work itself is probably like presented in a conference, an international conference, that will help you a lot. And take a picture when you're presenting, a fine picture. How will we get recording? I'll share that via mail. And how can one book a one-on-one with me? So I'll be sharing my calendar, right? I'm dropping a link to my calendar here. I'm currently working on a detailed video because, again, this time cannot be sufficient, honestly. This time cannot be sufficient to go into the details of all of this. And I know there are loads of questions. I will be hosting another session on this soon. And I'm not too sure of when, but I know I'll be hosting. I think the pricing is on the link, so you should be able to see the pricing there. So I'll be hosting another session soon, and I hope to be able to answer more questions. Most likely might be paywalled. I'm not too sure yet. It all depends on time, but I'm looking to do that. To answer John, you're saying for OC3, do I need to show the company's profits or just the business impact? You can show the company's profits and as well the impact of your contribution. There are two different evidences you have there. Can I use your salary for MC if I earn well in the UK? Over 50. I know you're on the good side. I used my salary too. So please run through how I can be connected again. So if you want to contact me, yeah, let me just My handle is Mr. Yomi across all social media platforms. I'm not out there on LinkedIn that much. Sorry, did I say LinkedIn? On TikTok that much. So it's just more of Twitter and LinkedIn. On also, if you need my support, basically you can probably book a one-on-one session with me. I'll be more than happy to assist you. You can book a 30 minutes or a 1 hour session with me. I'm also working, I just remembered, I'm also working, or probably I ask you guys. Now, I'm working on this, but I just need to validate this. I'm working on a detailed video, a step-by-step video guide, right? That actually would detail all of this and will be able to provide a lot of questions, template structures, and the likes. Now, this being paywall, would you buy? Right. I actually have a pricing for this, and I'm happy to provide a 25% I think discount. Let me just see if I can share that here. I'll be happy to, just let me just a few seconds. I want to create a coupon if I can just do that for everyone here. And then you can probably let me add a promotional code, just a few seconds. Road to GTV, just a few seconds. All right, yeah. So I'll be adding the just a few seconds. My links. Okay. Yeah. So I'm adding a discount because the video will be out in the next 2 weeks. So if you probably like just want to get the video, it will be available in the next 2 weeks. So I've dropped a link here. So if you want to reach out to me, yeah, you can reach out. I'm looking to answer a lot of all of these other questions in the within the next 3 minutes. Outside of your work, Temi Talk, where you're a VR creator, how do you think I can organize masterclass or training on it? Okay, will it help? It will be a strong evidence. Yeah, it will be a very strong evidence. AR VR, if you're an AR VR creator, you can do stuff around Twitter, get a number of persons. If you want to do a physical workshop, you can do that. That would really help, right? One thing that you should, however, note itself is try and get at least 100 persons to physically attend, either virtually or physically. It will help you a lot, because they expect that anything that you're organizing, especially around you attending maybe like a conference or something like, or a speaking engagement as such, minimum 100 persons. But even if it's not up to 100, leverage on this place. Can job offers from 3 different countries. Sorry, forget job offers. Job offer cannot work. Following up on my previous question on digital agency, what if the person has previously worked? Yes, you can leverage on the fact that you've previously worked on a digital, on a product-led company before the digital agency. Nomi, thank you for the feedback. So yeah, I've already put the link out there. You can leverage on the discount code I've provided, and you can do that. I think someone referenced the question earlier. I'm sorry, Abayomi, my almost namesake. I'm Oluwayomi, by the way. I worked as a software engineer in a bank for Nigeria. Would a letter of recommendation from a company fly? Yes, it's from the bank fly. But make sure they emphasize on the products that you built for them, right? Please let them focus more on the product. And if it is possible, the CTO in the bank, or probably someone that is like director of tech or something, is the person that really writes the recommendation that I might help you better. Yeah, because that person comes up from a perspective of acknowledging or recognizing your impact. Can I explain that salary part for someone working and earning well in the UK? Now, for salary, the way it works for salary itself is compare your salary, your current salary with your region, right? And you can show maybe like, okay, this is the average earning of someone as a software engineer or whatever role in that region. Then show how your own is more. So you can leverage on maybe PayScale or Glassdoor, and do a screenshot. Then show maybe like a screenshot of your salary. You understand? Maybe like your employment letter that shows the salary, and let them know that you earn better. That's just it. Please, letter of employment usable. Yes, it is usable. I use that as evidence. I don't know if any other person has any question. I'll be more than happy to assist. But I think on this note, it will be a good one to say thank you for everyone. Thank you to everyone for joining. I hope I was able to provide valuable insights, I would like to just see your maybe like a thumbs up. If I'm not able to, please just show me a thumbs down. But I really hope I was. And again, if you probably like need, additional support, if you probably like want the access to the video, I've provided the link. I probably should just pin that. Um, I'll probably just pin that. I'll also be uploading this on, I think, YouTube, so that guys can have access to this. One desire for me itself is not about even all of this, but that Nigerians are able to leverage this. Guys, not just Nigerians, everyone is able to leverage on this opportunity. The GTV is a huge one that you should be able to, take advantage of. Imagine coming to the UK without having to spend huge expenses like you would have on other visa types. And by the time you're coming to the UK, you have absolute freedom. I basically everything I talked about works around promise and talent, right? It's basically both. The only difference itself is your years of experience. I know the time was not enough. I'll be hosting a workshop soon around this. If you're not following me, maybe on Twitter and the likes, please follow me. I'll be happy to help. My DM is a mess, so I might not be able to respond.